We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. It's over. Wrap it up. David Benavidez is not going back down to 168 pounds, the super middleweight division. Cancel that. No mas. He not finna do it. So in this video, your boy Ego, I gotta get unpacked. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, I was sent a clip from Ring Champs, and shout out to the fan, Greg, who sent me the clip in my DM. David Benavidez, I will never go down to 168 pounds to fight Canelo or Bud Crawford. He not doing it. So that's what we're going to discuss in this video. Roll the clip.
I said he didn't prepare 100% because once things don't go your way, you have to put that pressure. You have to put that pressure. You have to do whatever it is for you to get in there and you know, secure you know, to win a round or secure a knockout. In Canelo's case, it looked like he didn't have it in him. He didn't have the energy to push forward. You know, just like how he did with Caleb Plant. You know, he was losing the first 4 rounds, and then in the 5th, 6th round, he started putting in that pressure. You know what I mean? And that's what you're supposed to do with little guys like that. I think if he would have had that same stamina, you know, it would have went a different way. Or if, you know, there's just the wanting to win the fight, it would have went a different way. But, you know, hats off to Crawford. You know, he had a great fight. He had a great performance. And he's up there now with the legends. And, you know, everything what he accomplished that fight can never be taken away from him. You know, he's an all-time great now.
I have to.
Boom. So Benavidez giving props to Bud Crawford on a great performance, you know. It was a great performance. I enjoyed it. I don't know, you know, people, the Canelo fans, they talking about he ran and all this stuff. Like, come on, bro. Just give the credit where credit's due. He was right in front of Canelo for most of the fight. It's a fight. It's a fight. You're going to use some lateral movement, jab, like use your tools. I wasn't mad at all how Bud Crawford fought. He did his thing. Now, as far as moving down to 168, this is what Benavidez had to say.
To ask you about the famous tweet that Turki Al-Sheikh put out right after that fight, where he said, "Can David Benavidez make 168 again?" I mean, obviously you saw it, and we know what he was insinuating. What was your first thought when you saw that tweet?
I didn't see it, bro. To be honest with you, I don't really be on social media like that. But I had seen my cousin that sent it to me, and he was like, I told him, no, bro, I'm done with 168. I'm not going down to 168. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter to me. I mean, let Crawford live, let him have his glory. You know what I mean? I don't like that type of stuff where like, it's like exactly like that. Like Crawford won his fight, and then, you know, they always say, oh, what does David Benavidez think? You know, I'm not gonna go in there and shit on him saying that, oh, I'm gonna fight him, I'll go down to 168 because I have no interest in going down to 168. Right. I wouldn't even, the only interest I had was going down to 168 was for Canelo, and if they told me to go down to 168 to fight Canelo, I wouldn't even do that.
Oh, so you wouldn't even do that now if that fight presented itself?
Nah, man. Like I said, I was there at 168 for what, 11 years, and my body is growing out of 168. You know what I mean? To be honest, I can fight 168, but my thing is that I gotta fight in the weight class that I feel the best, that I give myself the best chance to win, and it's 175. You know, I wouldn't go down to 168 for anybody.
Facts.
Yeah,
Facts.
168. I mean, we always thought you was big for 168. We was waiting for you to move up anyway. We even think that you could probably fight at cruiserweight. But before we got to this Yardy fight, Anthony.
So David Benavidez just set the record straight. He not going back down. So you heard it from the horse's mouth. David Benavidez says, I'm not doing it. I got to do what's right for me. I've outgrown the division. First of all, let me start off by saying this. Anybody who is trying to insinuate that David Benavidez is ducking Terrence Crawford because he doesn't want to go back down to 168 because he's outgrown the division. You sound stupid. I tell you all the time, there is a lot of low quality content available in boxing. And I feel like I always got to be the voice of reason in this sport because, listen, I know you guys got kids, you got lives outside of boxing. So some boxing fans are very impressionable, right? They're impressionable where you just want to be entertained. You'll click on a YouTube or a TikTok video or somebody on Instagram or look at their post or whatever, and they're talking boxing, and you think they know possibly what they're talking about. And what I notice is some of you guys will hear what is being said and not really use critical thinking to determine if it makes sense or if it doesn't. And then you'll run with what somebody else said. But then when you slice it up, when you break it down, it sounds so stupid that it makes me, for me, I can't speak for anyone else. It makes me lose respect for boxing fans that just regurgitate something that was said without giving it due process and thinking about if what is the point that is being made from a content creator makes sense. So let me explain. That's why I have my show, Often Imitated But Never Duplicated, Unpacked, where I can really unpack it. You guys like this style of video? Subscribe, hit the bell icon, comment, all that good stuff. So let's take it there. The people who heard this and other interviews from Benavidez recently, he said, I'm not going back down to 168 pounds. No how, no way. Not for Bud Crawford, not for Canelo. Done. Cool. But again, I know the game. I've been in this game for plenty of years. There's going to be people who try to spin it, and fans and content creators, oh man, David Benavidez is ducking because he doesn't want to fight Bud at 168. Listen how stupid that is. Bud Crawford himself said, I am not going back down to 154 pounds. Is that not the same thing that David Benavidez is saying? Bud Crawford, see, this is what I don't respect about the Bud buddies. If you're just a Crawford fan and you're reasonable, I ain't got no beef with you. But the Bud buddies is a different breed, and it's a breed of stupidity, right? Crawford is telling you, I just beat Canelo at 168. I bulked up. I'm pushing 40, 38 years old. I'm not going back down to 54 where I was just a champion and I have one fight with Israel Madrimov. If anything, maybe defend at 68, maybe go back down to 160. This is from Crawford, from his own mouth, from the horse's mouth, post-fight Canelo. He's not going to 54. The Bud buddies hear him say that, and they have no problem with it. They're like, yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense to me. He just fought Canelo at 168. Why would he go back down to 154 pounds? Cool. I ain't got a problem with him saying that. You don't have a problem with him saying that. But then when David Benavidez says, hey, I've already had a couple of fights at 175. I've outgrown 168 pound division. I was there. Canelo didn't want to fight me. Crawford wasn't even a talking point at that point. So I'm not going back down for either guy or anybody because I'm beyond that. I'm past that. I'm looking for the top shelf fights, Benavidez and Bivol, or anyone who wants to come to 175. But then the same people who heard Bud say he's not going to 54, they hear Benavidez, and then they try to spin it like he's ducking Crawford. So this is what I'm here for, to make sense of the boxing game. Anybody pushing that, because more than likely it's a Bud buddy who would be pushing that. They like Crawford. to a fault, to the point where they're not even going to be reasonable. It's all emotion. They're going to be like, oh, look at Benavidez scared to fight Crawford. Not scared to fight Crawford. He wanted to fight Canelo, who had done more at 68 than Crawford has, right? So I just wanted to point out that double standard, which is very flagrant. Benavidez ain't going backwards. Crawford ain't going backwards to 54. Makes sense in both cases. I'm not mad at Crawford for saying that, and I'm not mad at Benavidez. The only thing I am mad at is the fact that Crawford and Canelo even happened. I'm not mad that Crawford won because Canelo was holding the belts hostage anyway. So I don't mind Crawford winning. He kind of did us a favor because Canelo wasn't fighting Benavidez and he wasn't fighting certain guys anyway in multiple divisions. So I don't have no problem with that. But when you play musical chairs with boxing, it displaces people. I think there's better fights for Crawford, more dangerous fights than what we just seen with Canelo, who looks about done and very domesticated and very like past it. You know what I mean? And I said that before he even fought Crawford. He looked bad in the Williams School fight. Murtazaev he a dangerous guy. So even though these guys are lighter, Fundora, Murtazaev, Jermell Charlo, guys like Jerron Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz, these to me are far more dangerous fights. Even the guys at 160, Janabek, Lada, right? These fights are more dangerous. Or guys at 68, Hamza Shiraz, Diego Pacheco. These are not the Canelo style fights, aging legends in the sport. These are young, hungry, and depending on what division we're talking about, potentially bigger people. Diego Pacheco, Hamza Shiraz, these guys are bigger than Crawford for sure. And they can box and they can fight and they got a punch. You know, you seen Crawford's boy, Steve Nelson, fight Diego Pacheco. You know, even in Billy, dangerous fight. He's very durable. Crawford wasn't able to drop or stop Canelo, so I don't know that he can stop Billy. He didn't stop Madrimov. He didn't stop or drop Madrimov or Canelo. So Bud is still special. He's still a great fighter, even at the higher weight class, but he hasn't got a stoppage since welterweight. That's a fact. So, yeah, I'm not mad at Benavidez saying I will never go back down to fight Canelo or Bud. The bottom line is this. Canelo is in a bad spot. He had an opportunity to fight against David Benavidez. And he was a cash cow. He was the A-side. He was on a win streak ever since the Bivol loss. And he chose not to fight David Benavidez. He chose to skirt around the issue. Give guys like Berlanga. Give guys like Munguia. After he said he don't want to fight a Mexican fighter, somebody who represents, I represent Mexico, you know, I was born, you know, he did all this stuff and said, I don't want to fight somebody who shares the same flag as me. All that was cap because you fought Munguia and then later brought him into your gym and he failed a drug test. I'm so sorry. So I know my boxing people. So you were supposed to fight, you being Canelo, David Benavidez. You chose not to for whatever reason, and now the boxing fans suffer because you end up getting cooked by a much smaller person, which is always going to age worse. Like if you're playing basketball with Shaquille O'Neal and he beats you, I mean, that's a big human. He's like a big dude. So prime Shaq, he's kind of supposed to beat you. Over 7 feet tall, powerful center, you know, etc. But if you are 6'6" and you get cooked by Muggsy Bogues, that's going to feel a bit different. It's going to be like, all right, I understand you losing to 6'8" prime LeBron, you know, 7 foot plus Shaquille O'Neal. You almost have like a built-in excuse to lose to someone that big and powerful. But if you losing to Muggsy Bogues and Spud Webb or Iverson and you're way bigger than them and supposed to be better than them, you on your own. You don't really have a way out. You don't really have justification for why it played out like that. So David Benavidez was robbed of an opportunity in the fact that Canelo never selected him. And I said this from the jump. I truly believe that Canelo was worried. I don't want to say he's been fighting his whole life, so I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. But I feel like Canelo knew that Benavidez had an opportunity to beat him. And if he did beat him, it would probably be by brute force. It would probably be by beating him into submission, right? The way Canelo fought Crawford, you're not beating Benavidez like that. I've watched enough boxing. You know, the Canelo that fought Danny Jacobs, maybe. And that's still a big maybe. But the Canelo we've been seeing showing up for William School and everybody since Caleb Plant, that's not getting the job done with Benavidez. He's too big. He's too powerful. His hands are fast. He's hungry. He's mean. And his combinations are sick. And he gonna feed you. He gonna feed you, bro. Period. Point blank, period. He gonna feed you. Send you to the upper room. He gonna send you to the crossroad. Little boot and guys got him, and they're gonna miss everybody. You gotta fight Benavidez the right way and get some respect. Canelo fought Crawford. I don't even want to talk about William School. He looked horrible there. But he was in shape, and he fought a lazy fight versus Crawford, right? No jab. Who does that? Who has 70 fights and ain't got no jab in 70 fights almost? Right? Not putting his punches together, loading up and telegraphing. You're not beating Benavidez like that, bro. So what I believe, we unpacked, is that Canelo did not want to pass the torch to Benavidez. He knew there's a strong chance that Benavidez could beat him and it would be a passing the torch. And he didn't want to lose to La Raza. Even though Benavidez, half Ecuadorian, half Mexican, he didn't want to lose to a Latino fighter and do that. And for Crawford's sake, he probably thought it would be like Jermell Charlo. Like, what is this dude? I seen him on the TV, but what is this dude who's moving up 3 weight classes? He not going to be able to F with me. So he liked his chances. Turkey's paying me an outrageous amount for a smaller guy. This going to be like Jose Cito Lopez, Jermell Charlo, and these other small guys that I brought up where I'm too much for them. Crawford just had other plans, but he did not want to lose. I strongly believe that. Canelo did not want to pass the torch to Benavidez. And this is what hurts boxing, because legends like Julio Cesar Chavez, he don't care about that. He was willing to give the opportunity to Oscar De La Hoya, and De La Hoya ended up beating him twice. So it was a passing of the torch. It just is what it is. De La Hoya, he was willing to give the look to Floyd Mayweather and then Pacquiao. He gave him the opportunity, and the torches were passed in those fights. Floyd even gave Canelo, when he was aging 36, 37, gave Canelo opportunity to snatch the torch. That's what you're supposed to do. Canelo literally is the only face of boxing person that wasn't really giving out those opportunities, holding the belts hostage and giving out select opportunities to whoever he deemed he wanted to give them to. And that's not paying it forward. If you have more experience at the higher level than Crawford and you got cooked. So it's always worse to lose to a smaller person. You should have fought Benavidez. Now it's a wrap. He ain't going back down. Anybody saying he's ducking Canelo or Crawford by not going backwards, you're foolish. He's calling out better Biev and Bivol. At this point, these fights are more dangerous than both Crawford and Canelo, in my opinion. You know, and I'm not trying to diss Crawford because he still looked sharp in his last fight. But Bivol and better Biev are big and established, in the heavier weight classes. To me, that's a harder fight for Benavidez than a smaller Crawford. You guys can say whatever you want. You know, some people, they think differently of Crawford now. That's fine. But I'm telling you, Benavidez and Crawford is not the fight you think, especially at 175. I would be shocked if Crawford fought Benavidez at 175. I would be shocked because I don't think that would play out so well. It's a totally different fight. Again, I'm not going to say too much more. It's not the same as a 35-year-old Canelo who has shown signs of fading and slippage, period. So, yeah, shout out to Benavidez. I'll be checking his next fight with Yard. For more boxing breakdowns, raw, uncut, the best in the business, and is not even close, subscribe to my channel. I got Heat Rock, period. There's no one doing it like me. There's never been anyone that does it like me. Subscribe for the best in the business, and I'll continue to break it down. You dig? We unpacked. Live streaming can be tough, which is why I use StreamYard. Click the link in the description for StreamYard, which is an awesome tool that enables you to set up your stream with ease of use. Get great results with live streaming. It's what I use. Stream to social media with ease with StreamYard. Live streaming is here to stay. Engage with your audience using StreamYard. Great way to reach out to your audience and connect. So you need a tool that can do that. If you're new to YouTube and you're struggling to get views, one tool I can provide to you is TubeBuddy. I've been on YouTube over 10 years. I use TubeBuddy daily to crank out videos just like this one that you're watching. Learn how the pros do it with TubeBuddy. YouTube receives a lot of traffic, which also means a lot of creators, a lot of people putting out content. So you need to learn the ropes so you know how to separate yourself, especially if you're new, but even if you're a pro, use TubeBuddy. The link is in the description. Get more views, more subscribers, and a higher click-through rate, so ultimately you can realize all of your online goals. Use my affiliate link in the description and grow your channel fast.